On a sunny day on a remote island, Luffy and Zoro were enjoying a game of soccer on the beach. As they played, they heard a heartfelt voice coming from a small nearby hut. Curiously, they approached and discovered an old man sitting inside, reciting the Quran with a melodious voice. He was reading Surah al-Mutaffifin, and Luffy and Zoro sat quietly listening to him. After he finished, in his usual enthusiastic manner, Luffy exclaimed, "Dear sir, you recited a wonderful surah, but we couldn't understand its meaning. Could you explain it to us?" The old man smiled and said, "Of course, my sons. Surah al-Mutaffifin is a Meccan surah that addresses one of the bad traits practiced by the people of Mecca in their trade, cheating in measures. Do you know what tatfif means?" Zoro shook his head and said, "No, what is it?" The old man replied, "Cheating in measures and transactions. Some traders would give short weight if they were selling, but demanded full measure when buying. This surah was revealed to admonish them and warn against the consequences of such actions." Luffy, focusing intently for the first time, asked, "Could you explain the verses in detail?" The old man began, "Let's start with the first verses. Woe to those who give less than due, who, when they take a measure from people, take in full. But if they give by measure or by weight to them, they cause loss." These verses promise severe punishment for those who cheat in weights and measures. When they buy for themselves, they take their full rights, but when they sell, they cheat. Zoro interrupted. "It seems this happens even in our time. Many people cheat in buying and selling." The old man nodded. "You're right, Zoro. This surah is a warning for every era." He continued, "Do they not think they will be resurrected for a tremendous day, the day when mankind will stand before the Lord of the worlds?" These verses remind the defrauders that they will be resurrected on Judgment Day and held accountable for their deeds. Deception may succeed in this world, but it will not go unnoticed in the hereafter. Luffy said, "That's scary. I never want to be among the defrauders." The old man, smiling, responded, "That is the goal, my son, to learn and avoid these bad traits." Continuing, he added, "Nay, indeed, the record of the wicked is in Sijin. And what can make you know what is Sijin? It is a register inscribed. Sijin is the book of the wicked's deeds, where all their bad actions are recorded." Following the verses, it discusses their punishment in hell and how they used to mock the believers in the world. The old man's words resonated deeply with the current world. In our time, cheating is not only in measures, but in everything. It can be in trade, work, or even in promises and words. A true Muslim is one who upholds honesty in everything they do. Zoro asked, "But how can we ensure that we live honestly?" The old man replied, "Always hold yourself accountable and remember Judgment Day. Treat people the way you like to be treated." He shared a prophetic tale to reinforce the lesson. "Do you know the story of the man who lent people money, and when he saw someone in difficulty, he would tell his servants to forgive them, hoping for God's forgiveness for himself?" Luffy responded, "No, please tell us." The elder shared, "This man was an honest merchant who considered God in his dealings. When he died, God forgave him because of his mercy towards people. This teaches us that honesty and mercy lead to God's satisfaction and forgiveness." Moved deeply, Luffy and Zoro said together, "Thank you, sir. We learned a wonderful lesson today." They stood up, returning to their game, but from that day onwards, they decided to live with honesty and justice, sticking to the teachings of Surah al-Mutaffifin.